trying to find a pose for this every time I start the video. Anyway, I'll just start it. Tormented Souls is a 2021 survival horror game that actually focuses on the classic survival horror aspect from the modern ages of survival horror fans such as myself. And this game is actually produced by P-Cube Limited. And it also draws inspiration from the survival horror classic games that gave us hellish nightmares such as Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and Alone in the Dark. You are in the shoes of Caroline Walker, who receives a mysterious letter in the mail about two young girls who disappeared in a mansion/hospital called Winter Lake. But while she is searching for answers, unfortunately she has found nothing but trouble and a whole lot of hell. Whew, man, it's getting hot in here. I'm about to take off this jacket. Alright, I'll keep it on. Just for the Halloween event. After this month is over, I cannot wait to take this jacket off. This was my own idea. But anyway, I love survival horror games. I live and breathe survival horror games. Now, this one I was a little skeptical about because let's just face it here, survival horror games has been literally disappointing us this past, over a decade now. Not just with Silent Hill and Resident Evil, but just a lot of other horror franchises as well, and indie developers that has been trying to go to the brink of just take the ideas from Resident Evil and Silent Hill and try to make their own game. They've tried and they failed. Many of them have tried, many has also failed tremendously to the point where they end up being one of the worst games of all time. I'm saying that to say this. Now with P-Cube Limited, they have also tried, and honestly, they have did more than succeeded. Everybody that has played this game will tell you. Anybody that has played and did walk through this game would tell you. Anybody that has played this game and was too scared to finish it. I'm saying that because I was one of those people that couldn't finish this game. At one point, I twitched it and I got so scared, I literally had to cut the game off. If y'all seen my stream, it was embarrassing, but I just got so scared. P-Cube has succeeded. They have done a great job, and it's been a long time since I felt this way playing horror games. The game is not just scary, but it just makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you be on that brink of just looking around your room whenever you hear certain things, when things is just not right. The game does well with its atmosphere, the sound effects of just noises, things coming out from the back. Well, I had on headphones. So like the sound was more intense than normal. And you know what, there was times where I didn't have headphones. There was times I was just listening to it with a sound bar with my home theater system, and even then it was just more crazy. When I had on my headphones, there was times when I would hear voices. There was times when I would just hear screeching, and just there were times when I killed enemies and I still heard enemies in a room, and it made me feel uncomfortable. And the tension of the music was just even more gruesome, even more horrifying. They knew what they were doing, and I felt like the noises when I had my headphones was right by me. But then when I took off my headphones and I was just listening to it with the sound bar and the home theater system, it felt like it was in my room. So I couldn't feel comfortable. And with a survival horror game, they've done a good job. Now, people will have a problem with these type of things because they feel uncomfortable, but I feel like with a survival horror game, it's like a roller coaster. You're supposed to feel that thrill. You're supposed to feel uncomfort. You're supposed to feel fear. If you don't feel these things, you're going to get bored out of your mind. Why would you want to play a survival horror game that does not give you those aspects? The game does not drag at all. The game picks up as soon as you start the new game process. It does not pussyfoot around when it comes to the character development as well. Now, as the game starts, we are introduced with Caroline Walker, as I mentioned in the headline. Now, we don't know much about Caroline, but as the story picks up and as you begin to progress with your character, we begin to know more about her, who she really is, what she represents. But more things happen mysteriously as you progress in the game with her. I mean, with survival horror games does this. But I feel like with survival horror games, they kind of fall flat when it comes to the character development, especially when you have multiple characters, because they're just filler and you know they're going to die. But what I like about this game is that it focuses on Caroline Walker and Caroline Walker only. I suggest when you guys find weapons in this game, you need to be very careful when it comes to conserving your ammo. The game is very stingy when it comes to ammo. Now, you're going to find ammo in the game, don't get me wrong, but the enemies take so many freaking shots to kill. And you need to conserve your ammo. The game, here's the thing. You're going to have some enemies that is not worth killing. So if they're not blocking your path, or if they're not, like, literally, if they're just minding their own business, just walk right past them. They're going to give you some hell if they notice you, but I suggest you running because you're going to need that ammo later. Trust me. But if they're blocking your path, light their ass up. But I suggest you guys be very careful of using which weapon, because you have a shotgun that you can craft, you have a nail gun, you have some type of electrical taser that takes good damage as well. Now, judging by the weapons, I suggest you be very careful how you're going to use it with the enemies, because there's some enemies on there that you may need a shotgun. Because if you use a nail gun, it's going to take so much ammo. But when it comes to the shotgun, they be stingy with the ammunition. So I suggest you save that shotgun to bigger variety of enemies. Speaking of enemies, there's no bosses on here. I mean, there's a final boss, but there's really no bosses in this game, which is a little bit of a letdown in my opinion. There should have been more bosses on here so I can be more thrilled up with the survival elements of the game, because let's just be fair here. The enemies that they showed us, we get that fear, we get that tension, but I feel like after a while, you just see them and then you just kill them. So they really didn't throw nothing new at you until like by the end of the game. Now, what is a survival horror game without puzzles? Now, the puzzles on this game, in my opinion, is a bitch. They're tough to figure out, and you're going to need a strategy. I don't care how smart, how witty you are. There was some puzzles on there that, you know what, I'm not trying to nail harder the game. We need games like this to be more challenging when it comes to the difficulty setting of these puzzles, because I think modern horror games of this generation kind of spoiled my knowledge, because survival horror games today, they kind of hold you by the hand of you, letting you know what to do. With Tormented Souls, it's not like that. These puzzles on this game is very tough, very difficult. You're gonna be with me, it took me minutes, probably an hour trying to get past one of these puzzles. But one of these puzzles, now most of these puzzles you can go on YouTube to try to figure them out, but there's one puzzle on here that YouTube is not gonna help you. So it's all about just you figuring out yourself, because some of these puzzles have a random mechanic for how you should figure it out yourself. It's unique. It's frustrating, it's a bitch, but at the same time, survival horror games is known for these type of puzzles. Well, old survival horror games, which is a feature on here that I'm not complaining about. I needed that on here so it can bring me back to that frustrating lure. It's a good issue. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if she's gonna be stuck in this hospital mansion, these doors that she's gonna come into is gonna need more than a key. We're gonna need like a pattern for us to unlock them. And for a survival horror game, it was necessary on this one. As you can see, this game has done well when it comes to survival horror elements of the game. The pacing, because it wasn't really no drag of the game at all. Everything in the game fit off pretty good. Now, the length of the game is really not that long and it's really not that short. I guess it depends on how you play through it. I ended up beating this game within 16 hours. I've seen people on YouTube end up beating it within 3 hours. 4 hours. The shortest I've seen it was like 3 hours. I might try to play it again, but we'll just see what happens. Now, the game also has a twist to it, but by me, that's, that collects a lot of things on here, and I read a lot of these journals and hidden messages in the game. The twist was obvious. Now, for some people who don't read, it's gonna hit you, but with me, I mean, it was there. It was there, obviously. But other than that, I love this game. This was a very good survival horror thriller to me, and I really hope that a lot of games, even Capcom, I really hope that they can see this and they can learn from this, because whenever they release a Resident Evil game, we be more intertwined with the action, the thriller, but the horror is gone. So if they're running out of ideas, I suggest they take advice from people who are doing indie projects such as these, because it seems like they still have their mind intact with them knowing what the hell they want to do with these type of games being published. I'm gonna have to give Tormented Souls an A-. I'm taking off this jacket. Okay, I can't even take it off by the end of my review. Ain't that something? But anyway, this game is pretty good. I can't say I was lucky finding this game out. When I just got the PS5, I wanted to play some horror games on it, and I found out about this one. Now, let's be fair here. The graphics of this game is not all that great. I mean, it's good when it comes to the animation quality and the survival aspects of this game, of course, and I think they made it like that so it can be able to fit in with the horror elements of the game. That's unique. But I'm saying that to say this. This is not a PS5 game. It isn't. I mean, you can play this on a PS4 and it will still look good. And by me being like aware of it now, I kind of wish I kind of bought this in a downgraded console. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.